Okay, fellas, I got out all the Anoraks, so I'm gonna be doing a little overview of them. I've taken gotten some data on these actual Anoraks here. Okay, so if yours is different because you took data on it, well, that's why. Okay. Anyway, I gotta finish writing this down here. Alright, so what I found was, first of all, I'm going to give you the data, right? So, the Micklagaard hunting anorak, okay, which is what I've got here, okay. It comes out of Sweden, it's made in Sweden, cottage industry, all done right there by Swedish elves. But anyway, so their sizing is different than United States sizing. So I have a 4X here, which is about when I bought it, okay, which is about the same as a 3X in the Boreal mountain. Alright. And okay. So if you want to compare the weights, then you compare the weights between the 3X Boreal mountain and the 4X Micklagaard, okay, because those are roughly the same size, right? So it took me a little bit to get that all sorted out originally, because I was like, man, these sizes seem kind of small for what you're calling them, but they may have swapped it all out by now. I don't know. Companies change stuff. Well, the Micklagaard is 5 pounds. It's 5 pounds, and they use 25 ounce per square yard wool. Okay, so it's 5 pounds, and it's 25 ounce per square yard wool. Filson uses 24 ounce per square yard wool on their stuff now. Filson used to use 26 ounce per square yard wool a number of years ago. So this is kind of give you kind of a rough estimate, right? Give you a rough estimate of the material's weight per square yard. Now, on the 3X Boreal mountain, I sized all of these to be able to wear stuff under them. Even this 2X is sized to wear one mid-weight or one middle layer. Okay, that 2X. So I can put a mid-weight layer on, like what I'm wearing now. This is a double sweater, double jumper, right? And I can put the 2X on, which I've got right there. So the thing is to have layers and have dead air, right? To combat the cold. That's all mitigating heat loss. That's what layers are about. Okay, and and getting rid of perspiration. Okay, so now the 3X Boreal mountain. Okay, 3X Boreal mountain rough, which is 96% wool. I know my Voyageur says on the tag, it says 96% wool. So the rough could be 96 also. I'll have to look at it. I got all of them here. I'll have to look at it here in a second. But all your Boreal mountain are made from 20 ounce per square yard, which I think is too light. That's just my opinion. But they are all made from 20 ounce per square yard wool. The 3X is 4 pounds of 20 ounce per square yard wool. That's a 3X rough. Now, incidentally, it does have the trim. Okay, so it's like 4 pounds. And then I have a 4X Boreal Mountain Voyageur, has no trim, and that's 4 pounds. Now, it could be because I have a digital scale. You know, it's doing its own little rounding or whatnot. But I would think that since one is slightly larger than the other, it would be, you know, a bit more, but even like a half a pound more. It's hard to say. I could maybe weigh them later and it could change a little bit, because that's how these digital scales are. You know, they could be one way 1 minute and another way another minute, because they're not precise instruments. You know, it's not like you're using a meter, you know, to check something. So, nose hairs and mustache fighting each other. So, alright, so we've talked about the weights of these, right? Well, we didn't talk about the 2X Loden, okay, which is the one I like the least, actually. It's not a terrible garment, but I think they could have done a lot better with it. I think that they could have used better quality wool on it. The other ones are just fine. The other ones, the wool is just fine on them. But it's 3.5 pounds at 2X. 2X is 3.5 pounds of wool. So, I'll show you the Loden here. Now this one pilled a lot. As a matter of fact, there's a little pilling right there. But this one pilled a lot when I first got it. I mean, it pilled and it pilled and it pilled. I'm surprised it's even, you know, here anymore. But it also came with this, what you call a wool rock. Okay, so in the weaving process, something got into the material and it's woven in there. So that's what you call a wool rock. Either that or it's a knotted up wool. I don't know, but they call that a wool rock. But anyways, it's got that in there. I would have thought that quality control would have caught that before it went out the door, but obviously they didn't care. Either they didn't see it or they didn't care. A lot of people just don't care anymore. So, I haven't really worn this one a lot. I'm not really a big fan of the green. This is kind of like a pine green. I guess if I were up in the far, far north, where there's a lot of evergreens, you know, I might be more of a fan of this color. But I'm not a big fan of this color. In this particular anorak, this particular Boreal Mountain anorak, with all the pilling, this quote-unquote Loden, I almost did not get another one. It turned me off so much, I almost didn't get another one. So I ended up getting 2 more. Why did I get 2 more? Because the rough, I think I got the rough next. Pretty sure of it. And I was impressed with it. As, you know, I mean, the sewing is impeccable on all of their garments. The sewing's impeccable. But it is, you know, it is lighter than I would like. Here's the rough. Okay. It is a little bit lighter than I would like, but it's not bad. But one thing we have to consider is that these garments are an outer layer. These are not meant to keep you super warm all by themselves. They're not. They're made to wear over, like knit woolens, you know, things like that, to be part of a system. An anorak like this is not generally a standalone object unless you are moving and doing something like snowshoeing or skiing, and you take off your mid layer and you just have this on, and you know, just to kind of keep some of the weather off of you as you're moving along. That there. So it's an outer layer. So when the weather gets real crappy, you put on your heavyweight, mid-layer insulation, your heavyweight insulation, and then you put this on as an outer layer, right? Here's the pattern, all right? So it's like a gray orange. They could have used a little bit better trim, but this trim is actually kind of hard to find as it is. So you can't really get down on them too much for the trim because, you know, well, I mean, maybe seamstresses can find this stuff easy because they know all of the places to get it, but I don't. So anyway, alright, so I'm going to set this one aside. Since I'm talking about the Boreal Mountain Anoraks first, okay, I'm just kind of talking about these, and then I'm going to tell you what I feel should be done. Now this is the Voyageur. This is actually my favorite one because of the Boreal Mountain. It's my favorite one because I just like the traditional looks of it. It's the blanket style. All of these have the leather patch for their logo. I like that a lot. I don't think going to, you know, a modern embroidered one is a smart idea. I think the people that are interested in anoraks are interested in more traditional outdoor stuff. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, I think, and then I will come back and I will continue with these Boreal Mountain anoraks. And then after I get done with Boreal Mountain, then I'll pick on the Micklagaard, right? Not really picking on it, I'm just giving you my feedback, okay? Because I have worn all of them. I've had these Boreal Mountains for several years now, and I have had the Micklagaard for almost a year. So I got it last March. There was still snow here in New England, so I wore it out, and I enjoyed wearing it actually. And anyway, so I'll come back, another video, we'll talk about this Boreal Mountain some more. I'll see you there.